Alright, so today's project is building a tank with multiple compartments and dividers in it, which is from my buddy Steve the mechanic. We made a bunch of videos together before he moved away last summer, unfortunately. And basically the design of this is really simple. First off, we can actually see the design of it because he was nice enough to draw this up on his computer. I don't even remember the last time I got to work with computer design plans. Usually everything's scratched out on a napkin or it comes straight out of my own head. But today we have the luxury of this. So you can see there's a number of different compartments here. They hold different volumes of different types of fluid. And so we basically just have to stick that together. And then I picked up some little pipe nipples and pipe caps. So there's going to be two openings in the top of each side. More on that later. So we did that. We've been out here for a little while. We got this sawed up. Everything on this design, minus one little 8-inch wide strip of material, came out of two sheets of 4x8 plate. We're using some 1/8-inch mild steel sheet metal for this, and I think it's going to be a nice balance between obscenely heavy and strong and durable, so I'm really optimistic for how this is going to turn out. There's a very unique set of challenges that go along with any project, and the main issue we have to worry about today is essentially blocking ourselves out from completing welds that need to be done. What I mean by that is, here, take this as an example. So I think we can all agree that all the inside seams of this the smallest area in this entire tank, this all needs to be welded before we weld the cover on, right? Well, likewise, we have to weld in this baffle before we set up the next baffle. And so I think what I'm going to do is this baffle I'm going to weld around all the way in here from this side, because otherwise it's like 3 feet inside this box and it's going to be all full of smoke and stuff. So I think we can make this work. Now, one thing I will say is because we've introduced some 1/4-inch plate to this, and also because I'm going to be welding this downhill, and therefore we can run quite a bit hotter, we're going to turn this machine up here. So one of the more difficult aspects of this project is figuring out just how I want to align all these puzzle pieces so I know that nothing's going to leak and I can access everything and put down a satisfactory weld on it. And nowhere is this more apparent than right here. This is the smallest part of the tank. It's like 1/10 of the total volume of this thing. And the way I've got this set up now so I can weld it is to actually do a square groove weld. This is an open root weld all the way up. But I don't want to go down because I feel like I might have one tiny little lack of fusion on this particular type of joint. And it's going to ooze out. So as you can see, it's all the way through. There's no trick photography or whatever. Real deal open root. And we're set to about 66 amps right now. So let's see how this goes. You don't want to be putting wire in this thing. That would not be good to come out in someone's machine. Okay. Perfectly smooth, just goes right in. I love it. Okay, what's the other corner that's perfect? It's one of these that's got with that one. Okay. So now we've got the entire tank welded out, and the last thing left to do is to install these pieces of pipe, and I'm being very careful with this to get them all perfectly level, both this ways and that ways, because if even one of these is off, it's going to be extremely, extremely noticeable when the project is finished. So as you can see, I've just gotten through painting this wonderful tank, and I guess it's about set up. Now we just have to wait, like, I don't know, a few weeks for my buddy to be back in town and pick it up. So I will say I'm really, really pleased with the way this thing came out. It's a large tank. It took 2 full sheets of 4x8 and then like 1 more piece of plate and then all these random pipe fittings and everything. So it's heavy. It probably weighs 300 to 500 pounds, just to ballpark a really rough number. But I got this shot with some rusty metal primer, that reddish brown stuff. I've discovered that makes a darker color coat like this generally look even a little bit nicer. And then I painted this with some it's not a flat finish, it's a metallic hammer finish. I absolutely love this stuff. It's not everyone's cup of tea, but I use it on all sorts of projects. And I think it looks really cool, and I chose it for this project because my buddy said he wants something that's going to hide things like spills and scratches and things along those lines pretty well. So I really think we have a quality tank here. You know, you can hold 96 gallons of essentially waste oil. There's this thing. Yeah, it's actually starting to dry. So this thing's kind of cool. There's a grate in here, so when he takes an oil filter off of something, he just picks up this lid, sets the oil filter in here over this grate that drains down into the tank. And of course this lid rests on here. We're going to get him a gasket so it'll be watertight, and then of course it's chained here as well, so it's not going to like fall off going down the highway or whatever. So we have that, and then in each of the 4 compartments there's the 2 pieces of pipe. There's one that serves as a vent, one that runs all the way down to the bottom of the tank and ends at a 45. And so I think he can do a lot with this. I think he's going to be really thrilled to have it, because this is going to really work to help him organize the back of his truck. He's no longer going to have the need to have buckets of all sorts of various fluids back there, because he can hold them all in this. Now, one thing I will say, there's really no such thing as too clean on a project like this. I guess the waste oil tank really doesn't matter all that much, but the rest of these are for new fluid, and I've advised him to pick up some a product excuse me, a product that I used to use back in my old tractor days to seal gas tanks, and pour it in here. So, you know, if there's a little piece of spatter or something in there, it's not going to end up getting tangled up in the fluid, sucked out and put into a machine. So if you're going to build something like this, I highly recommend using some type of product to line it, even after doing your best to keep it clean, because like I said, one little thing can cause a big problem potentially. So I think it's going to work out really well for him. I'm really happy with the way this went together and welded and everything. It was a really great project. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I'd like to thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.